President, and gosh, it's great to see everyone. I got to thinking, hearing all this French, that I don't know French, and then I got to thinking that, well, with my southern drawl, if I knew French, it probably wouldn't sound too good anyway, so I'll just speak English, if that's okay. It is great to be here. My wife, Holly, who's sitting by Serge on the third row there, and I have just had a wonderful time and thoroughly enjoyed the hospitality of the RAC board and the Moncton Area Amateur Radio Club, and we love the countryside and the beautiful scenery, and we hope to come back someday just to visit and visit with all the people. It's just been wonderful. Greetings from the American Radio Relay League and the board. As Glenn said, gosh, we've got a long history together, our two organizations, and it goes back many, many years, and I hope it will continue for many, many years. We certainly have a lot of things in amateur radio today, of course, where we need societies that will step up and work together and hopefully keep this hobby, this wonderful hobby, I call it the greatest hobby in the world, going for as long as we can have it go. I hope we can do things together that will make sure that when we're all gone, it's going to be here another 100 years, and somebody will be standing here saying something to say. I came here to listen and to learn with the RAC board, and so I spent 2 or 3 days with them now, and I have learned a lot. One of the things I did learn was there's a hard-working group of people, and I'm really impressed with everyone that I saw in that meeting. And you members need to know that you've got a good crop of folks that are looking out for your interests. A lot of times, my experience with the ARRL board and all the hours we put in, people don't really realize how hard it is sometimes, because it's kind of like a thankless job. But we all love amateur radio, so we do it, But you need to know that they're a hard-working group of folks, and I'm really impressed. The other thing that struck me was that in listening to all the discussions about strategy and issues and things like that, was that the ARRL has very similar issues that RAC does, and same problems in many instances that RAC does, and the same challenges that RAC does, or the Amateur Radios of Canada. And so I think that we can continue to work together on a lot of common interest, in solving problems and the challenges that we face in amateur radio. We've got challenges of getting new hams. One of the challenges that I see all the time, that a lot of areas are doing pretty good in recruiting, but then we get new hams and they fall off the face of the earth after about a year or two, so retention is a big issue as well. And then we've got all these regulatory issues and things like that, and that just keep ever so challenging, right, Richard? So it's just a lot of issues out there. And then I often talk about the face of amateur radio's changed, and that worries me greatly. In the example that I use, I'm looking at this crowd right now, is I'm seeing young people in this crowd, and I don't know about on the webinar, maybe we've got some young ones on there, but I see a lot of people that look like me, some of us older folks, and that kind of bothers me a lot of times, because I look for the next generation, and that's something I think we all need to be thinking about. Where's that next generation? I gave a talk at one of the Dayton meetings this year, and I talked about legacy. And I said, everybody needs to be thinking about what kind of legacy they're going to leave. Like if one of us dropped dead right now, what's your legacy that you left for amateur radio? Well, I hope it's a good one, You might want to think about that when you leave here today, is, what kind of legacy am I leaving, and what more can I do as an individual to make sure that I am leaving a positive contribution for the greatest hobby in the world. It certainly has given something back to me over the 50 plus years that I've been a ham. And with that, I'd suggest to give you a challenge, if I could politely do that as a guest. One that I like to give a lot of people back in the States when I'm talking to a group, and it's not too hard of a challenge, but it's challenges that I think make a tremendous contribution if everybody in this room would do it. The first thing I'd like to suggest y'all do is everybody in this room and on the webinar commit to getting a new ham within the next year. 1 year to do these challenges. Everybody in here commit to find somebody to become a ham radio operator. The second has to do with your own society. I think every ham needs to be a member of their own society. And so everybody in here and on the webinar ought to be a member of RAC. And if you're not, if you're here at this meeting, you're probably looking at that director right there. So if you're not a member of RAC, you need to see that man right there at the end of this meeting and let him convince you why you need to be a member of RAC. And those in the webinar, you know, you just got your directors introduced and the deputies, and you need to go see these people. And Glenn, if you're not a member of RAC. Now, if you're already a member of RAC, then you need to go find somebody who's not a member of RAC and get them to join RAC, okay? And then ask that person to join RAC too. And then the third thing is I want you to help a ham. Just go find a ham and help. You know, my old Elmer's helped me. So anyway, if we all did that, think of the impact we would have as a group on amateur radio. You got 1 year to do it, okay? Again, thanks for the hospitality. It's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rick. One thing I didn't have in my notes, but just to